Welcome to the Financial Beast Podcast, the practice owner's guide to maximize practice value and create personal financial success. Your host, Eric Miller, is the co-owner and chief advisor at Econologics Financial Advisors. He is also a national speaker and published author in financial matters focused on practice owners at every phase of ownership.
Okay, hey everyone, welcome back to the Financial Beast Podcast. This is where we are talking specifically with private practice owners, and we are showing you, telling you, explaining to you how to become in charge of your own personal economy and how to make sure that you don't make financial mistakes that lead to, well, bad things happening. So this podcast is dedicated to you, and my name is Eric Miller. I'm Chief Advisor, Co-owner at Econologics Financial Advisors. I've had over 20,000 conversations with healthcare practitioners, all financial things related. And I am here with
Mindy Heinz. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Econologics. Been with the company for over 10 years.
And she too has had many conversations with
I don't know if it's 20,000, but it's pretty close.
Healthcare practitioners and the subject of money. Mm-hmm. And, I think we have a pretty interesting topic today because it has to do with the do-it-yourselfers out there. And we run into this a lot.
Yep.
You can call them a lot of different things. Call them the people that know the best.
Know everything.
I can do everything on my own.
I'm good.
I'm good. What can you possibly teach me?
Mm-hmm. I'm already doing
this.
Everything, yeah.
So it is, I guess it's a frustrating part of what we do, but it's a natural thing that you're going to have some people out there that just think they know more than what you do.
Which is interesting because they're always gathering more information.
I think that was what
it's kind of like the opposite.
One of the things we wanted to talk about, like if you are a do-it-yourself, like what do we mean by a do-it-yourself?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So you probably run into that more than I do.
Yeah.
On the clients end, because you're talking a lot more to prospects.
That's right.
So how do you define a do-it-yourselfer, or when you run into, what are the characteristics of someone that you say are like, oh yeah, this guy's a do-it-yourselfer?
Yeah, well, usually they kind of are self-proclaimed at, having it all figured out already.
Yeah.
Yet they're having conversations or showing up to every single training exercise or, and they're trying to apply it and they have questions, which is interesting to me because they still insist that they can do it all themselves. Yet when we dig deeper and examine, they're actually not applying it correctly, or they're not looking at it from every single angle. So it's kind of like it's confusing because they kind of seem, it's kind of insane, because they say, oh, I can do it. Yet they're not doing anything in its entirety comprehensively correct. And yet they still insist, well, I just need to read another book, or so it's kind of
like a freeloader.
Right? Kind of. Yeah. I mean, look, I appreciate people wanting information so you can be more in control and being able to make better financial decisions. That the way you do that is to get information.
Yeah.
But there is an element of like, you still don't know what you don't know. And it is frustrating as much as we have helped practice owners through every phase of practice ownership, startup, expansion, transition, and exit. And we've seen it all, and they haven't yet experienced that. So they couldn't possibly know. And so when you're trying to tell them, they're like, yeah, I already know. And yet you're like, but this is missing. Yeah. It's frustrating,
I think that part is, it's, you get someone that you're right, attends every single webinar, listens to everything that you say. And I mean, that's part of why we do what we do. I mean, we give a lot of stuff away.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 90% of what we do, probably just, we tell people exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
If you just applied 10% of what we teach in all of our free information, you'd already feel better about your financial future.
But it took, years and years to see what were the successful actions, what were the unsuccessful actions, what areas to focus on, what areas to not focus on. And to, I think, I don't want to call it the arrogance or the self-importance to think that,
I can do that.
I can do that. How hard can it be?
Right.
How hard did it take you to be a good physician?
Right.
Or, a good optometrist or veterinarian or a dentist?
What if your patients or clients said that?
It's like,
I can stretch that muscle. I don't need your help with that.
It took you, years of practice and practice and practice and observation of different situations to see like what works, what doesn't work, how to apply a certain, tactic to whatever. So that's where I think we get frustrated with the do-it-yourselfers, is because you know better.
Yeah.
Or you should know better.
Yeah.
And
they really stand in their own way of what their potential is, because they are bright.
Yeah.
They're very able, but they're standing in their own way of future success. And typically, unfortunately, they are missing something that's going to bite them later, and that's the unfortunate part. You just want to
give some good examples.
Okay. So like not taking advantage of maybe like a tax credit, right? Where there's a timeline, it's very finite. And when you miss the window, you miss it, and finding out later, right? If you would have just, acquiesced to hiring somebody that could help you pull all the pieces together, it would have been proactively discovered, and it would have been, you'd have the success everybody else is having.
Yeah.
So we've seen the missed opportunity, and it can cost thousands of dollars.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, I know. I hate to. It's true though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of sad and unfortunate, because we have even seen where these do-it-yourselfers have been following us for 10 years or more. And it takes a bad event for them to go, oh, maybe I need some help.
Maybe I do need some help, and I'm willing to pay someone to be able to do this.
And that's usually the reason, is like, I don't want to pay somebody something, for something I could do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I'm going to use mowing the lawn, right? It's like mowing the lawn. What is your time worth? Shouldn't somebody else just do that so that you can do things that create income?
Yep.
Right.
Well, I mean, again, you get back into your economic value of your activities. And this is where, you could research all these different things. You could learn about all these different things, but how much is this taking away from what you could be doing in your practice?
Yeah. Building a business.
That's
a lot of work.
It. And, I use this example a lot. Every earning or every dollar of profit in your business, especially for people in the type of healthcare practitioners that we work, it can be worth 5 to 10 times that. So every dollar of profit that you uncover in your business is worth 5 to 10 times that.
That's
in value to the overall enterprise, right? So if I have
it makes sense, but I never thought of it that way.
If I have a dental practice that is doing $2 million a year, and I have a 30% profit margin, that's $600,000. Okay, that practice is going to get valued, and let's say it's going to get valued at 7 times earnings, right? So what would that be? The math on that would be
a lot.
$4.3 million. Okay, and if I were to increase that margin from 30 to 40%. So now it went from 600,000 to what was my
you said
3 million.
Yeah. 2 million. I thought you said.
2 million. I can't remember what I said.
This is why we write this down usually.
That would be 800,000 of earnings. Okay. Now my value just went from 4.3 to 5.6. $1.3 million
huge.
of value that was created.
Just by finding an extra 10%.
Yeah. Is my time more valuable there?
Absolutely.
Than going to look for which money markets have the highest rates or
relatively unimportant activities.
Relatively unimportant activities.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge that I give a lot of these do-it-yourselfers is like, do you really understand where the value is that you're giving up?
Yeah. I think that's it goes along with just not having the right strategic plan for what you're trying to accomplish. What I see with do-it-yourselfers is they're kind of a tips and tricks kind of searcher. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're always searching for the tips and tricks and the latest, greatest and how to do this. And, and unfortunately that it just creates these silos of, potential opportunities that sometimes don't pan out. And so they speculate and they're risking time, valuable time and money trying to accomplish the same goal as what they could do if they spent that same time in their business, and maybe even greater accomplishment in that business because it's something they already know, right? So you should spend time doing things that you know, right? And your best investment and the best place to spend your time is what you know.
Absolutely.
Not what you're trying to learn.
So how do you know it if you're a do-it-yourselfer?
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I met with a guy a couple weeks ago, and for at least 25 minutes, he sat there and told me basically how smart he was.
Oh.
And how much he knew about business and finance and money and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And 5 minutes into talking to him, I was like, ain't no way I'm going to work with this guy.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way.
Because he can't follow direction, right? Because he thinks he knows.
That and just it would be a complete and utter waste of my time to try to convince him. He was already convinced.
He knows everything. Mm-hmm.
But it's an indicator to, you should just take a look. Next time you have a conversation with somebody, are you doing all the talking? Right? And if you sit there and notice yourself talking for 20 to 25 minutes,
it's probably you.
About how smart you are and how much you know about everything, then it's probably you. Okay? You're probably a do-it-yourselfer.
You're probably a
Fine.
do-it-yourselfer.
I mean, if you know something, of course you want to be able to communicate that.
Yeah.
But why are you there?
Yeah.
To tell, especially if you're talking with someone that is in a field that is an expert in this field, like you're just sitting there talking to this person about how smart you are.
Yeah.
About everything. That's probably a bad indicator.
Yeah.
But it was interesting, because I uncovered like 2 or 3 things
that he didn't know
that he didn't.
Yeah, I've done that.
And that's the part where it's like, okay, well, hey, why don't you just try this and see if this works? But you know what? You know better than I do. So why don't you go ahead and do it? So it's interesting that if you notice yourself not shutting up,
you're a do-it-yourselfer.
You're probably a do-it-yourselfer. The other thing is, and you kind of look at where that comes from. It's like an inability to be controlled. Right?
Interesting.
So I say that because people have this idea that control is bad, yet, in your practice, you control a lot of things.
Yeah.
Control's not bad.
No.
And
you have to control staff.
And you need to yourself be able to be controlled.
Yeah.
Because if you're I'm getting surgery, that doctor is in control.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's
right.
fine. Let him do his thing. But it's that inability to be controlled is not good.
Yeah, no. I think, even to take a step back from that, it's just what we typically find is do-it-yourselfers are not coachable.
Yes.
Right. So everything you say to them, they either already know or they think that they can do it better, or they want to alter it because they think they know better.
Yes.
Right. They know better how to do it. And so they're like, I'm going to do it myself. And then they alter it and find that they don't get the same result. And then they just say that doesn't work. That's my favorite is, well, like, how do I do this? And then you tell them and they're like, well, that doesn't work. I already tried that. Well, you obviously didn't do it right.
Or they try to go talk to like 4 different people that are going to give them 4 different ways to do something.
That is a do-it-yourselfer.
And that's definitely
they get tons of opinions.
If you go out and you need to find 4 different opinions on something, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna. Yeah, that's a bad indicator as well.
Yeah, they do. They get 4 different opinions, and then they try to create their own way of doing it from these 4 because they still insist that, they can get a better result.
Yeah.
And they typically find that it doesn't work, and then they just dismiss it as, well, that didn't work. And and it's not true because it's worked for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
And normally, I got news for you. There's no perfect system. There's no perfect way to do everything. There's no perfect way to do it. Like, you're not going to do every single action absolutely, positively, 100% correct.
There's great best practices. There's great technology on, kind of step by step by step. But here's the interesting part. And I think this is what just as a general statement, you can read book after book after book on ideas and strategies and step by steps and, do-it-yourselfers love, finances for dummies, right? So they love that kind of stuff, but yet they don't actually know how to exactly apply it to their situation in that point in time. So they fail and they struggle, and we see more mediocrity than we do actual achievement. And I think that it's hard for me to see because it could be another way. And if they could just get out of their own way and allow assistance, coaching, and actually follow direction and not insist on altering it, just to trust the process and hire the right people, of course. But, you're not going to always have that. If you're really a do-it-yourselfer, then you have a lot of knowledge, right? You'll know when it looks completely wackadoo, somebody advising you.
You should. And I think a couple things on that. Number one, if you can't take an order, you're kind of a crazy person.
Beyond a control freak.
Yes, you're beyond that.
Yeah.
Because if someone can't tell you to do, think about that when you give an order to a staff member and they don't do it. Like, okay, why? I didn't feel like it. I didn't like it. I disagree with it. Okay, great. They keep doing that over and over again. You're just talking to a crazy person.
That's right.
Right? Because a crazy person cannot take an order.
Nope.
At all. They have that. Whatever's going on, it's a bad indicator. So
yeah, and the result of that, really quick, the result of that is what happens if a staff member does that, right? They hold the entire business up.
Yes.
Everything. It's almost like they create the entire stop of production, right? So that's what, as you do it yourself, or that's what you're doing to yourself.
They absolutely do that. So this to me goes back to if you're working with somebody like a financial person or whoever it is, just find someone that has a similar philosophy that you do.
That's good.
Really, really ask them those questions, because again, you're not going to do everything to professional standards. You really aren't as a do-it-yourselfer. You just don't have the time to spend the hours that it takes to do something to professional standards.
To know everything.
And the professional standards are to get you to an end result. And if you're working with someone that you don't, the basis of the relationship, there isn't some philosophical alignment there, it's not going to work. So
that makes sense.
Even if you're a do-it-yourselfer that is open to changing your ways, find someone that you philosophically agree with when it comes to money.
Yeah.
This is how we view the stock market. This is how we view insurance. This is how we view debt and the value of the business.
Yeah.
And this is how we view taking profits. This is how we view all of these things. Yeah. Okay. I can tell you right now, not all of our clients agree with every single recommendation that we give.
That's right.
But I think the basis of our philosophy, is strong enough that people will be able to say, this is where they're trying to get me to go.
Yeah.
And that's that. And I'll listen to them because I feel like they've researched, and not every one of our recommendations is always 100% on point. I wish it was.
Yeah.
I'd love to be perfect all the time.
We are perfect. Well, here's what I can say about working with a professional is you always want the professional you're working with to be able to demonstrate results.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you demonstrate results objectively? It's not guessing, right?
Yep.
And I think that's where, that's what you should look for. If you're a do-it-yourselfer and you're looking to changing your ways.
Do-it-yourselfers rarely have a system to keep stats.
No, they don't even have like very specific goals, what they're trying to achieve, right?
They almost have none.
It's really kind of interesting because when you find out that they're just kind of winging it.
Yep.
But they're still looking for all the best ways to do something, yet they haven't implemented or applied anything they've learned because they still aren't sure. Usually it's because they don't have a target, right? Mm-hmm. What they're trying to achieve with whatever strategy they think they're learning. And they also don't have a way to measure it.
Yeah. I'll give you a couple areas I think do-it-yourselfers don't ever look at.
Okay.
They don't have a method of assessing risk. Okay.
But they're funny because they're the biggest risk takers, but they'll say they're the most conservative.
But they'll say they're the best investors.
Yes, they're really good at it.
I'm a great investor, all right, because I do it this way.
How's your business?
But yet they have zero methods of assessing risk in their practice in their household. They certainly do that. Most of them don't have any metrics.
Right.
Most of them don't have any targets.
Yeah.
Most of them don't even have like a investment policy, as far as how these are the do's and don'ts.
Because they're always looking for something that's latest and greatest.
Yeah, they're looking for like what's going to get me the highest return. Most of your do-it-yourselfers always talk about returns.
Yes,
that's all they talk about.
What'd you get in returns last year? What was your
rate of return? Like that is the first indicator that I know I'm dealing with a do-it-yourselfer. Is like, what's your rates of return?
And my question is
such an amateur question.
My question is, well, what's the value of your business? And they have no idea what the value.
That's on me. I'm like, well, is it really? I bet you I can get in there and show you how to increase the value of it by 10 or 15% just by doing a couple things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is definitely an indicator of a do-it-yourselfer is like, okay, what's the rate? What are my returns?
Yeah. If you ask any of these questions of financial professionals that you've been interviewing, and interviewing is a loose term because it's really, we find that they just want information for free.
Yeah.
Right. But the problem is they don't apply it correctly. And then they become actually almost a risk to your business. Because they're not applying it correctly. And they're like, well, I learned this from, Econologics.
Yeah.
But it didn't work.
I guess we try to give them advice that's just so dummy proof that, no matter how you apply it, you'd still get a good result for it.
Wow. Yeah.
But you never know,
it works. I think what kind of the purpose of this topic is, I know we're kind of
we're making fun of
we're poking fun of people. I know. But it's actually detrimental to their own future. So if this sounds like you in any way or sounds like somebody then it's time to really self-assess, right? Or suggest that person do something about it. It's okay to make someone aware, like, hey, it kind of sounds like you think you have it all figured out.
Yes.
And
I don't want to tell people, look, you have to just blindly trust your advisors.
Education is key
with everything. And that doesn't mean that you can't ask questions or you can't watch, YouTube videos or you can't.
Yeah. But you should know what you're doing.
But honestly, it simply means that you're just not trying to overwhelm yourself with so much data that all you do is just crave it. 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's like that craving. I have to know everything. I have to know everything.
Yeah.
I don't just think that's the case.
No, you can't be a professional, researcher.
Yeah.
That's not going to actually make forward progress. And so we've seen it. And we've seen people come back around and say, I tried to do this all by myself and I implemented a couple of things and I was successful, but I found out this, I could have done this better and you guys talked about it and I didn't do it. And, so we've had people come back around too.
I do think that's where the accountability of having an advisor there that is routinely checking in on you has a lot of merit because look, life is going to get in the way. You're going to have an obstacle. You're going to have something that happens. I mean, how many times have we had people, hey, I need you to start taking 10% of your practice revenue and let's start pulling that out. And if you do it incorrectly, like if you just try to do it yourself and you started that, you would fail miserably.
We've seen it. We've seen it collapse. And that's again where people say, oh, that didn't work.
That didn't work. I tried to do it and my business got overwhelmed with it. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Because you didn't do it correctly. Like, there's a very systematic way that we've learned on how these things occur.
Yeah.
So that's just part of the process.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that I like talking to do-it-yourselfers because they almost all sound alike.
They do.
You know,
they do. You're like, oh, are you friends with so-and-so?
Are you guys friends?
Are you related?
Yes. So you do have to be open to coaching. You do have to be open to new ideas. You do have to be open to all these different things. And
well, that's what we would define as a financial beast, right? So if you really want to get into beast mode and you want to become a financial beast, you have to be coachable. You have to be able to take direction, and you have to, you should want to know, right? You should want to get educated, but you shouldn't have to know like how the watch works, right?
That and people that are financial beasts make fast decisions. They don't sit there and,
ponder,
research,
ask a million people.
Hours, well, I'm just that way. I go, well, you don't have to be that way. You can actually just make a decision.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you do it in your business all the time as a practitioner.
Exactly. And just, okay, I got enough data right here where I think this decision is right.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah.
And let's just go.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think the best owners are like that.
I agree.
They're decisive.
That's a financial beast.
And they don't. And if they're wrong, they're wrong. And then be like, okay, that was probably not a good decision I made, but I know that I'm doing a lot more correct things than incorrect things.
But if they have good advisors, then more correct than not.
Yeah.
And they can make those snap decisions because they aren't necessarily doing it alone.
Nope.
Right. And they're working with experts that have, success.
And advisors in their fields. I think that's an important part
understand their business. That's right.
Because you have to do that. You have to work with someone that understands your business, how that relates to your household. And so much money is lost because you don't have a system in place to capture that.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately do-it-yourselfers.
Yep.
You lose out on hundreds of thousands of dollars because of that.
That's right. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, we encourage you to
keep watching our videos.
Consider changing your ways. But what I think is interesting is some people are on the fence.
Yeah.
Like maybe I should do it myself. Maybe I should know how to do it myself. And just know that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And it's okay to want something more than what you have the knowledge or capacity to get. And you can have it all, but you do probably going to need a coach. Just like a professional athlete doesn't just go out there and swing the bat, right?
Even if it costs you 10 grand to hire someone and it turns out that, you know what, I still feel like I can do it on my own. So what's the downside?
You got a second opinion.
You got $10,000. It costs you $10,000 and you certainly got data and plan that's probably going to be pretty consistent to help you out.
Probably better than what you had before.
It's 100% better than what you had.
At least help you get there.
So that's the worst case scenario that's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Is that you make a decision.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I spend this and it turns out that it really wasn't for me, or I learned what I learned and I think I can do it myself. Great.
Yep.
Then go do it yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's the extent of the damage it's going to do for you.
Yeah.
So
if you want to become a financial beast,
well, definitely go to Econologics Financial Advisors. You can certainly go to the podcast and share the podcast with other practice owners,
with the do-it-yourselfers that you know.
Do-it-yourselfers that you know. We got plenty of resources on there that can help you do it yourself if you want to.
It's true.
And we do workshops and we do boot camps and we do all these things because we want you guys to win. But we also want to make sure that you have a guide because we think that having a guide is definitely going to be
absolutely
give you the highest chance and probability for success.
Yeah. If you really are a control freak and you want to control your financial life, make sure you have the right people in your court that are coaching you so that you can achieve the things that are most important to you and use your business to do that. So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us today. And we hope that you enjoyed this podcast. And again, share it and let us know if there's anything we can do to help. Take care.
See you next time.
You've been listening to the Financial Beast podcast, where we talk about how to turn practice profits into personal financial wealth. For more information on how to become a financial beast and practice ownership, visit financialbeastpodcast.com. You may also want to call the office at 727-588-1540 to request more information on becoming a client or arrange to have Eric speak at your next event. That's 727-588-1540 or financialbeastpodcast.com.